I don't know if you know, like, but also like that's common in South Africa.
Yes.
Bleaching is a
It's a
huge trend.
thing, yeah.
Because, like, you'll notice like all South African girls are just light skin.
Yeah.
A lot that you'd see like maybe on mainstream social media and stuff.
Yeah.
But when you see like their brothers and,
It's very confusing.
yeah, it's so confusing.
And
I'm
you
like,
don't
wait,
know
what's
who
going
lied
on
to
here?
us.
What's going on here? But what's your thoughts like even on just that portion? Because it's not just South Africa, like also it's common in Nigeria as well.
Yeah.
And also common
Even
in
Asian communities, that's common.
actually even in Korea, like
Yeah.
people, the whiter you
Which
are.
is so funny because in Asian communities, they really want to be light, like
White,
fairer
white,
skin.
yeah.
And then the white people, they're trying to go under the,
I'm confused.
what do they call the
Tan-
tanning booths?
tanning, yeah.
So that they're even doing the extra spray paint just to look like their color.
Yeah.
So I'm like, guys, there's something.
It's confusing.
It's very confusing.
Yeah,
Just
but-
love yourself for who you are.
But even with just that trend, what do you think where do people go wrong where they find themselves like just, is that something that has it ever crossed your mind? Because now, like even like the 7 years you've said,
Yeah.
you hang around a lot of white people.
Yes.
Until even at some point you're like, maybe, just maybe if I was a bit lighter,
You know what's
they
so
would love
funny?
me better, right?
You know what's so funny? White people don't even notice that. Because all black
Really?
people, like me and Cosette or Nduta,
Yeah.
will probably look the same to a white person.
Like
But
they still,
it's the internal hate from your own community.
Yeah.
So like some people will even tell you, oh, you're so pretty for a dark-skinned girl.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, what? Can I just be pretty?
But has that ever gotten to you at any point? Maybe even it crossed your mind like once, because because the reason why a lot of girls would be doing it, it's because it's like it's just I can't understand it as a guy, but
think for me-
Congolese guys would
Yeah.
understand. They can explain if I had one on the podcast. But I see them doing that as well,
Yeah.
and it's always like just confusing because I don't really know internally.
I don't think it's ever gotten to me as far as my self-esteem. It's just gotten to me as far as like opportunities or like dating experiences, because where I'm from, I'll see a lot of guys who are like, oh no, I only date light-skinned girls or racially ambiguous girls, Latina
Really?
girls. Or like you'll get passed up on opportunities because they'd rather give the girl who's more light-skinned because she's more palatable to their market. So that's the only thing that it gets. Because when it's interfering with my money,
But that's
or my
still a
dating-
lot, because you see, like you've mentioned on
Yeah.
dating,
Yeah.
and also like you've said, like even career-wise,
Yeah.
they've said something to do with the palette is more marketable.
Yeah.
That also affects your money, and of course, dating when somebody's saying like
Yeah.
that kind of like messes up with you a
It
bit.
can, but that's why you have to be so strong-minded
Yeah.
to not allow those things, because you'll see someone like Lupita living her best life,
Yes.
very dark-skinned,
That's true.
beautiful and unapologetic.
That's
and
true.
look, she got her Oscar.
True.
So you belong, no matter what you look like, you belong.
True, and I think also now at times we kind of forget like that's what makes us special.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's what makes us special.
because even if I color my skin like Nduta's,
Yeah.
I'm never going to really feel like that's who I am.
I mean, you
I'm gonna
never
look
know until you
ridiculous.
try, right,
I'm gonna look
Nduta?
ridiculous.
I don't know about that.
I'm gonna look
You're like,
ridiculous.
oh, I don't know about that. But also, like, even mentioning that, also, like, now being in the States, I think the way you said, like, you'd find people who are saying they prefer to date people who,
Yeah.
girls, women who are
And
slightly.
it'll come from black men, by the way.
That's what I wanted
And
to
that's
say.
the most
But-
toxic.
No.
Are we ready to unpack?
Yeah, we can unpack, but
Yeah.
But because even like in my questions in my podcast, I talk about health, wealth, love, and happiness. Because we've
Yeah.
talked about like even just being career-wise and
Yeah.
everything. But we're also talking about like how dating and how it
It
can
can be
influence.
challenging.
Because I think when young girls are trying to get slightly light, it's because they think,
It's for the male gaze.
yeah. And let's be honest, like in Kenya, we don't have NBA players here, baseball, American football players.
Yeah.
But in the States, we're talking about a whole different ball game. Because I hear if you go to somewhere like Miami,
Yeah.
it's a whole different ball game
It
there.
is, yeah.
And when you have like a whole fleet of like sportsmen who are just looking for fair-skinned women,
Yeah.
that catches on as a trend. Even to the broke guys, they're like, hey, man, I can't wait till I get my money.
When I
and
get
then
money.
when I get my money, I can deal with you sisters now. But when I get my money, which is what a lot of basketball players
And football
and
players.
football
yeah.
players.
Yeah.
I think like just a lot of, and these are people who set trends, even when it comes to music. When you see
Yeah.
Travis Scott, it's with like Kylie.
Yeah.
When it's Kanye, it's there with. When you see Kobe Bryant,
It's very internalized. You know, when it comes to the States,
anybody
it starts-
can mention. I can think
Yeah.
of Michael Jordan.
but it goes
I wear
deeper.
his shoes, but
Yeah, but it goes deeper because all of it
Yeah.
starts from the systemic aspect of it, which, by the way, we're not going to have a history lesson.
yeah.
But
yeah.
when you come from a place where you've already been taught to be less than, you want to come out of it and just not be associated. So there'll be very few people like LeBron, maybe, who will keep
Yeah,
his
actually
girlfriend
true.
from when they were in high school and still carry that
Actually,
along.
apart from
and it's very
LeBron,
rare.
there's nobody else.
It's
Who
very
else?
rare. It's there's a few.
Is there anyone else?
There's a few.
Who?
Well, there's a few. But
With
I
a
don't want
black
to say
wife.
it's very. That's what I'm saying. It's very rare. But that self-hate.
Can you imagine even just like asking about somebody else's name apart from LeBron?
Yeah.
It's so hard to say anybody else who.
I know. But that's where it comes from, it being systemic, because they
Yeah.
want to be very detached from where the poverty, growing
Yeah.
up. Can you imagine you've grown up in the projects, your mom was a single mom. You don't want to be associated with any of that. So
Yeah.
now you're choosing, hey, when I make it, I'm going to get me a nice white girl with blonde hair and forget where I came from. So it comes from a very
Yeah.
deep place. And luckily for us, we
Yeah.
don't have to deal with a lot of that. Like, I was even telling some of my friends, before I moved to the States, I didn't know I was black. Like,
Yeah,
I mean,
like
I knew
it doesn't
I'm
cross
African,
your
but
mind
you don't
that
know
you're
until
actually-
when you get there and you're like, oh, wow.
People
I'm filling
actually remind you.
I'm filling out my work application. They're asking me, are you African American,
Oh.
Mexican, Latino, American Indian,
Yeah.
or Caucasian? And you're like, why do you want to know?
Yeah.
But you know, they use those things for the optics to know how they're going to go about the hiring process. So those things, they really mess with your mind when you move to such spaces, because then you start to understand, wow, I'm really black.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I think
Because
also.
here we're all the same, we treat each other the same way.
Yeah, but that's why I'm always telling people, like, I think also, I don't know about diaspora, but I'm always
Yeah.
telling people, like, until you travel, that's when you'll start appreciating more, a little bit more different.
Yes.
Because a lot of people always like, I want to leave my country. I'm like, yes, you can.
You
But
can.
also just travel a bit and just understand what it comes with and everything, because you'll be reminded.
Yeah.
Because there's some certain countries, I can't remember which one, but a majority of the countries where I would, like, if I see a black person, they were just somewhere behind, like, parking or doing, they were not at the storefront when
No.
you're going to shop and stuff.
I know.
You'll see like a lot
it's
of light
funny you
skinned
said
people.
that. Can I interrupt?
Yes, please.
Because I'll have, when I'm working at Cartier, and
Yeah.
a lot of people, black people pass there, they'll be like, I see you, sister.
Yes.
I see you, girl.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, power to the black people.
Wakanda
it's so-
forever. It's like, yo.
It's always so interesting. Or when you're walking through places and
Yeah.
you see a black person, you have to say hi.
Yeah.
And your other white friends or your Mexican friends are like,
Do you know
them?
him?
I'm
Like,
like,
no. No.
We have that
But it's just that of-
the language of knowing, I see you.
Yeah, I see
You
you.
know, we're here. I
Yeah.
support you. We're good. Yeah.
Because